So hello everyone, here we are. I'm Juan.
Duncan.
We are in Liverpool in the International Transition Towns Conference. And well, I'm from Spain, he's from Ireland, but both we live in Barcelona. And we're here because we want to explain a little bit what has happening in all the squares of Spain and why this is really related with transition. And we want to show to all the transitioners what has happened in there, why this is important for everyone.
Well, basically, in the 15th of May, there was the start of a movement. No, just a lot of people took to the streets, and that resulted in people trying to occupy the square in Madrid. They were evicted with violence by the police, and that led into something very strange in Spain for a series of weeks. No.
For 1 month and a half, the Plaza Catalunya, for example, which is the biggest square in Barcelona, has been camped by hundreds of people. We were making assemblies of around 2,000-3,000 people, and this is the biggest example of transition I've ever lived. We had a group for action, we had a kitchen that was giving food to everyone, we had our own garden, we have a healthcare group too, people from every age, from different nationalities, from different ways of thinking. We were all together and it was amazing.
So this movement has been called the Democracy Real Ya movement, which translates as Real Democracy Now. And it's talking about the fact that Spain, especially Spain, which is only about 34 years after leaving fascism, it's now a democratic country, that still maybe there's room for improvement, no? And that maybe people were feeling that the politicians weren't doing enough, or maybe aren't in a position to do enough to get Spain out of the crisis, because Spain is in a terrible economic situation at the moment. 20% unemployment, and for the young people, for the youth, it's about 1 in 2. Nearly half of the youth of Spain are unemployed with no prospects of employment. And with that, people have just got to the fact of just gone, they've got so low to such a point that they've just said, we need to change this around, and we can change it around. People are intelligent, people have the tools, with all these communication tools that we have, that, looking especially at transition has one of the things that these tech tools have enabled a deeper dialogue, a more participative dialogue, and if using these tools in a smarter way, maybe even democracy itself can be improved. People are calling for a participative democracy.
Yeah.
Brindo este amor, un amor tan de repente. Brindo este amor, un amor tan diferente.
And it's important, it's like we're involved in transition in Barcelona, but like where it's gone to now is in the last few weeks, people have left. The majority of people left the square of Plaza Catalunya to return back to the local, back to the neighbourhoods, because the neighbourhoods in Barcelona and Spain in general are very well established. People have a very strong sense of community. Each neighbourhood still has its own local market. People know each other. People celebrate with their local festivals. So barrio neighbourhood is still very strong. So they're saying, rather than everyone having to come into Plaza Catalunya, let's go back to the neighbourhoods and organise there and actually start looking at what we can do. So although it came from this democracy, real democracy idea, it sparked into people in each neighbourhood looking at, like, there's commissions for improved local economies, looking at areas in the neighbourhood that might that could be turned into food production zones, looking at support groups for each other, looking at alternative education for each other. So, like many of the aspects we talk about in transition are happening in all these little decentralised little areas around in the neighbourhoods of Barcelona.
We had a fantastic group of facilitators, because try to imagine how difficult it is to make decisions when we are so much people, but it was working by consensus always.
From the absolute beginning has been a purely peaceful movement.
This is really
the
important.
peaceful
Yeah.
attitude has been, I think, one of the keys to it, because, like, you know, we see in places in Barcelona there's been trouble on the streets, like in the general strike back in September. It ended up like a police car was petrol bombed. There was fire in the streets, so there is tension on the streets. There is a lot of anger because of the repeated cuts against austerity, etc., that are happening. So people are angry, but to actually keep it peaceful, it can be a difficult thing.
Brindo este amor que me llena de esperanza. Oh.
It's gonna come next, so we really don't know. But transition has a lot to say in this context, and I can't say what's gonna happen. But definitely there's a lot of work to do. But this awakening, it has been beautiful.
Yeah. It's more and more people just waking up, and it's not limited to Spain. So, you know, in England, in Wales, in Scotland, in Ireland, France, anyone can just get up and just start doing something, no?
Italy, Portugal, Greece, many places. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is that we have to really realize that we have the same problems, because we are speaking about global problems.
For me, that's what transition is. It's the exact same thing. Transitioning from where we are now, which is pretty messed up, to something far better. We're very, very intelligent people, communities, and we start coming together and participate in these projects. They're just magic things happen. And everybody who's been in the square for a few days, no matter how long or how short, has been affected in a truly profound way. And that's what life should be about. People having these moments with people, making things, having dreams, just dreaming boldly, and then going, fuck it, let's just go and do it, and then doing it, and then soon living it.
Y brindo a esa luz allá en la distancia. Oh. Reina colibrí, despierta la diosa. Oh. Que canta a ti y a mí su canción preciosa. Oh. Brindo a todo lo que quiero dar, a todo que está a punto de empezar.